am fantastic.
Are you in quarantine? Like, what's going on with you?
No, I'm not in quarantine. I'm just happen to be in my office all day today.
Oh, okay. You still working though, right?
Oh, yes, 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 yes. How you doing today?
Well, thank you. I just left the office and I'm like, oh snap, I gotta hurry up and get home. I got a bomb interview at 1 o'clock.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love your setup there
Thank
too.
you. Oop, I just rushed and tried to fix them pillows, right? Yes. Get the dog hair out, get all the food. Wait a minute, let me make sure ain't no socks back there. Are you ready to jump in?
I'm ready. Yes.
Yay. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
So I'm Dr. Elijah Nicholas. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I am a transgender male. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I served 25 years
Wow.
in the military, and now I'm an author and a writer and speaker. And I love life.
Okay, all right, good.
Yes, I love life.
So, and then speaking of, what you're doing now with author and you're using your platform to speak, tell me how that has empowered you to help other men and women, get to where you are about loving your life as you are.
Oh, my life has become really an example of healing, and I teach individuals to manifest their best life. That's a book that I wrote last year, and I
Mhm.
take the pain that I have gone through, and I write about it, and I speak about it, and I help coach people see the light within. Oftentimes people ask me, how can you be happy and jolly all the time? And I say, let me tell you how.
Facts, facts. So, what is one of those ways to be happy and jolly all the time?
To live your complete truth.
Hmm.
Live your complete truth. And I have been living my complete truth for the last 2 years since I transitioned from
Hmm.
female to male. And let me tell you, that was like the last untruth that I had to unlock. And now this unlocked, I have unleashed a new level of happiness.
Amen. All right. Mess it up. I could curse, but I'm not because you're a minister. So mess it up. So, at what age were you when you knew that you were not happy being a woman?
So I was 5 years old when I
Hmm.
knew I was a boy,
Okay.
right? I was
Five.
5 years old. I didn't know
Right.
what that meant, but I know then that did things that little boys did. I
Right.
didn't want to do things that little girls did.
Hmm.
I didn't feel like a girl. When I started I don't have my breasts anymore, but when I started forming breasts and going through
Hmm.
puberty age, I was in shock. Like,
What are these?
what is this? I was thinking like my brother don't have this. Well, I got
Right.
this, right? So, but I lived my life as a lesbian, and it wasn't until I was 48 years old. I'm 50 now,
Wow.
and it wasn't until I was 48 years old till I just could not do it anymore, and I said I have to walk in my truth. It was
Mhm.
life or death. I
Right.
chose life. I chose God, and I chose myself.
Amen. Always choose yourself.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
and that brings me to, the book, your newest children's book. Is it Madoodle? Am I
Yes,
pronouncing it
Madoodle.
correctly? Madoodle.
Madoodle.
Okay.
Yes.
So, why was it important for you to write this children's book at this point in your life?
So I wrote this book because there were no resources out there. And when I
Hmm.
started my gender transition a couple of years ago, I did research and I was like, how can I have a conversation with my nieces and nephews and baby cousins and explain to them that Auntie Tasha, that's my old name, is now becoming Uncle Elijah? There were
Okay.
no resources out there for Black transgender men. Nobody that looked like me,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And so I said, I'm going to create the resource. And that's what I did. It really is. It was inspired by my nieces, my nephews, and my baby cousins, so that I could have the conversations that I had. And now I'm actually on my third book, and they're like writing a series for me. our interactions.
So then, and this is another question. If you could motivate, empower, or even mentor Dwyane Wade's daughter Zaya, what would those words be?
I would first applaud Zaya and tell her that I wish I had the courage she had
Right.
when I was her age, right? Because I could have saved myself all those years of pain. And how I would mentor her is just to tell her to continue to live in her truth unapologetically. She has the absolute best setup. Her family is amazing.
Right.
Amazing. And so I would just tell her to continue to live her truth and don't worry about the naysayers and don't read the comments.
Right. Don't read the comments. Lord be offended. It's not even me. I'm like, what? What is one of the most misunderstood conceptions that people make about transgenders?
One of the most misunderstood conceptions that people make about transgender individuals is this is something that I chose. This is something like I just woke up one day and said, I want to be a man.
Right.
I'm a man. That's a misconception. It's a misunderstanding. There is something about transgender individuals that is, most of us, our brains are chemically different from how we were assigned at birth, right?
Right.
So I'm not just saying, I want to be a man today. No, I was miserable as a female.
Wow.
Like I couldn't look in the mirror without getting down on myself. And I'm not talking about just like, oh, I need to lose some weight. I'm talking about what's called gender dysphoria, right? And I was like, I just can't do it, right? So that's a misconception that people think that transgender individuals are just choosing to be the opposite sex.
Right. Wow. That's so moving. So then once you made that decision, like what was one of the things that you always wanted to do that you got to accomplish once you made that choice?
The first thing was when somebody said, hello, sir, how are you doing? I wanted to do cartwheels. Like that may be like no big deal to people. But
right.
It's finally deepened enough. The octaves lowered, right? And somebody said, hello, Mr. Meredith, how you doing? And I was like,
yes,
I'm here.
Kind of like when you get your license at 21, right? Or to buy alcohol. You were ready.
Ready.
I love it. So what is one of the most meaningful experiences like recently that you've experienced since you had the surgery?
The most meaningful experience is with my mother. My mother has been my best friend and my supporter my whole life. We've had our ups and downs with me being a lesbian and now coming out as trans. And it was very hard for her to really basically lose her daughter. And so now that my mother is like 150% on board, like every time I talk to her and she calls me Eli, that's what she calls me, it just like melts my heart. It is, it's like something I waited 48 years to hear, you know?
Right. Wow. That's so sweet. So then do you think that that is important too, to have that support, you know, and like back in the day, you didn't hear about it. So the fact that your mom supported you from beginning to end or where you are now, is that a big deal?
It's a huge deal. And that's one of the reasons that I wrote the book, so that parents and families can actually sit down, read the book, have table talk discussions around the book. So, you know, kind of the tension. The book, it's a children's book, but it brings the tension down, right? It's like, it's colorful, it's playful, and it's entertaining, and it just brings the tension down. So that was one of my reasons that I wrote the book, so that families could have lighthearted conversations like this.
Right. Where can our viewers find the book?
The book is available on Amazon.com. Type in Madoodle, Madoodle. Dr. Elijah Nicholas will come up and you'll see my happy smiling face on there, and Madoodle and her Uncle Pete.
Beautiful face.
The ebook, thank you. The ebook is available right now, and the print copy will be out by this weekend.
Amen. All right. So like, and then I have a couple of more questions. With LGBTQI being more and more acceptable as opposed to the mid 2000s and back, when we were coming up, why do you think there is still stigma with just being beautifully different?
I think there is still stigma because of the social constructs that we live within. There's
Hmm.
still stigma because people aren't living their complete truth.
Right.
Oftentimes, oftentimes I find that individuals who aren't able to be in a room with me, they have internal conflict. There's
Hmm.
something that they're not truthfully living, one, or two, they have such strong religious beliefs that it just won't allow them to accept the LGBT community. But I believe that we're moving in a direction where those stigmas, 30 years from now, we it'll be like, oh yeah, you're LGBTQ or you're lesbian or you're trans. Oh hey, come on in, right?
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dogs have turned up.
Oh, that's okay. I got boxers and they're not here today because I had interviews.
No,
Listen, that would be my dog if he was here.
turning up. I'm like, shut up.
And they always know when you're doing something that you need them to like chill for, right?
Right,
Like
right.
I'm gonna keep barking till you come get me.
Yes. I'm like, am I gonna have to put you in the bathroom? Stop it.
I just took mine to the center. Listen, because I would hear them all the way in the other room. Seriously, I
So
get it.
with your dogs, like, how, like, have your pets? How long have you had your pets or your best friends?
I know, right? My best friends. I've had them. They are 9 now, and I had them since they were 8 and 12 weeks.
Wow. So how have they adapted to the transition? I know this is an odd question, but
Yeah,
dogs are the first responders to
yeah.
anything. So how have they adapted to your transition?
You know what? I think they have become actually more protective of me.
Hmm.
It's interesting because as a female, they were already protective, right?
Hmm.
But
Right.
now it's like, and they're not mean dogs by any means. They're boxers. They think they're lap dogs. But now when I go out, it's almost like they have this heightened sense of awareness. Like,
Don't.
don't try it. Don't don't try it. I don't
We
know if
gonna
it
cut
is
up.
my trend. They will. So yeah, so they have like this heightened sense of awareness and protection for me. I don't know if it's they're like, yeah, we know, we got you.
We about that life. Okay.
Got it.
So now, and this is a more somber question.
So,
How has the deaths of the 14 trans that were taken this year affected you?
it is so heartbreaking. I am so um just taken aback by the fact that this is still happening. And not only is it happening, but it's not getting any media
Right.
attention. So thank you for asking about it. It's something that goes along the lines, I believe, like you said, about the stigma. Why is there
Right.
so much stigma? I think part of it is because we don't, even in the Black community, we don't talk about being transgender.
Hmm.
We kind of got to the point where we accept the L, G, and the B, but the T is like, So I think we're still beginning to talk about it. So it's such an unfortunate event. Um, and I think that we're going to have to continue to raise awareness
Hmm.
like you're doing by asking the
Right.
question. We have to continue to raise awareness and let people know, hey, there was a black male, his name was Tony McDade, that was killed like the same week as
Wow.
George Floyd by the police in Tallahassee, Florida. So it's a matter of raising awareness and then having the hard conversations within the Black community to just say, hey, all lives matter. All
Right.
Black lives matter. We got to talk about this.
Right, big facts. And then that brings me to my next question,
Sure.
regarding the All Lives Matter, All Black Lives Matter mural. How did that make you feel?
Oh, wow. I saw, you know what? I saw the first one I saw was actually in San Francisco, I
Hmm.
think. And I was like, oh my God, because they had a trans flag right in the middle.
Right.
And I was like, yes. Like, you see, I got my trans flag. Like,
Right.
I wear it proud, right? And so I don't know. I think they put the mural. Are you in Atlanta? You in
No,
Atlanta?
I'm in Charlotte.
Oh, okay. So we have I think they did all black lives, but I don't think they put the trans flag. Somebody tagged
Mhm.
me on Facebook and was like, Dr. Elijah, you gotta get this in Atlanta. And I was like, I'm gonna get right on that.
Facts, get on it.
Yes.
So then, and this is a question about George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. In what ways did you try to heal yourself following their deaths?
So, I had a hard time finding where I fit in during the whole Black Lives.
Wow.
When I transitioned, I didn't transition as a Black male. I transitioned to Elijah. And it
Right.
wasn't until that happened and some questions that I got came up, I was like, you know what? I'm a Black man. Like, I could get, stopped, or any of these things could happen to me. So once I realized my place, which is I'm a healer, I actually went to the protest, right? And that was
Right.
a part of my personal healing, just to be present. I wore my Trans Lives Matter t-shirt. And so I felt just being present and just showing that Black trans lives matter too. So that helped heal me, and that helped me like find a safe space in all of the things that are going on.
Right. It's so much, so much. We got the COVID, and it's like, where did that come from? Like, who does that?
I don't know. We've been in the house a long time though.
I swear to God, I'm just like, is this outdoors? Does the outdoors feel like? So now, as far as if you had words of encouragement for somebody who's trying to make that decision to transition or just be true to who they are, what would those words sound like?
Those words would be, you are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by you are worthy is you are worthy of living your complete happiness, your complete truth, your life, right? Because that was my biggest challenge. I didn't think that I was worthy enough to allow Elijah to come forth.
Right.
When I really stood in my truth, in my worthiness, and stood on my faith, right? That's when Elijah came through, and like, life hasn't been the same. It'll never be the same. I'm
Right.
like living now. I'm free. And that's how that's what I would say to them, is that you are worthy. You deserve to be 100% happy. Not 99%,
Right.
100%.
That's right. Not 99%, 100. That 1% might be the deal breaker.
Absolutely.
And this is my ultimate last question. I say ultimate, but it's really not.
Okay.
Where can our viewers follow you on social media, and then again leave your handles to where they can purchase your books or anything else that you may have?
Absolutely. So Madoodle is on Amazon.com, and it's Madoodle, and that's on Amazon.com. Again, the ebook is out now. The paperback book will be out by this weekend. You can also follow Madoodle online on IG, and that's _ Madoodle, Madoodle. And you can find me. My handle is Dr. Elijah Nicholas on everything: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is Dr. Elijah Nicholas, and LinkedIn as well.
Thank you so much. It was just fun talking to you, Dr. Elijah Nichols. Nicholson, is it Nicholson or Nichols? Nicholas, because I was gonna say Dr. Eli, but
yeah, that's easy. Like Dr. Eli, that's so fine. That's what my mama called me.
So thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Just a beautiful soul. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on today. Take care. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.